Song at number 29 on WJRD's Top 11 Plus 50 survey of October 31st, 1966. Well, this brings back some memories of my childhood. Indeed, Petula Clark brings back a lot of memories of my childhood. Started with, well, she'd been charting in England since the 50s and early 60s, but she had her first huge American hit with Downtown. That was in late 64, early 65. And I Know a Place in the spring of 1965. Round out every corner. That was back in the fall of 65. And there was a Sign of the Times in the spring of 1966. All these songs written by Tony Hatch, her producer. And Tony Hatch and Jackie Trent, they teamed up and they wrote Couldn't Live Without Your Love back in the summer of 66. What a beautiful record. Actually, that song cataloged the relationship that was growing between Tony Hatch and Jackie Trent. They later got married. That song was about them. I Couldn't Live Without Your Love. Such a lovely cover by Petula Clark. Just, I like Janis Joplin and I like Grace Slick, but Petula Clark's just something else too. I just love Petula Clark. Amazing singer, Petula Clark. And now we come to this song, Who Am I? Who Am I was a little bit different from her previous cuts because songs like Downtown, I Know a Place, they were upbeat records. They were happy records. They were, well, I'll get into that in just a minute. But this song was a little bit more of a reflection. It was perhaps a little bit more melancholy. A song that dealt with a search for meaning in life, kind of examining the flower child generation, which was growing, starting to flourish back in 1966. Definitely would hit its peak in 1967 and 1968. Petula Clark, though, she had another song after this. God, does anybody remember Color My World? She was back to form with that optimism, the sunniness, the absolute, just the glory of the rapture. The rapture of listening to Petula Clark and the production that went into that record, Color My World with happiness all around, take the green from the grass, the blue from the sky from above. Remember that? But let's go back to this song though. Who Am I? I love the harpsichord. The harpsichord was played on this record. It just, God, it just hits the spot. This record was probably not her greatest record. It was not her biggest hit. Went to number 21 on Billboard's Hot 100. A guy named Glenn Gould, though, wrote a song. He wrote an article about this record. He wrote an article about this record in a magazine called High Fidelity. It was called In Search of Petula Clark. He was inspired to write this article after listening to Who Am I on his car radio. Here's what he says about the song Who Am I. Let me bring that up for you real quick. This is a quote from Glenn Gould from the article that he wrote for High Fidelity. If I can come across it, here it is. Uh, this is his quote. The song struck him as a document of despair which catalogs the symptoms of disenchantment and contrast to the Beyonce, I probably mispronounced the word, expressed in Clark's earlier hits, Downtown, My Love, and Sign of the Times. And he pretty much hits the spot on looking at this record. Who am I? And I'm looking at this record, looking back on some memories on this record, coming in at number 29 on 1150 WJRD Top 11 Plus 50 survey of October 31st, 1966.